tranquil water? Very quickly, Zhang Xuan's consciousness returns from a mystical spiritual world and his eyes light up. Having read so many books, it is natural that he would understand the significance of the will of mind. I am a transcender. Having experienced life and death, it is natural that my will would be stronger than most. Furthermore, I cultivate in heaven's path divine art, so my zhenqi is as pure as clear water. It is normal to reach will of mind to dance so quickly. He is overjoyed over it, but it didn't come as a surprise. If he were to still be like the other ordinary folks, when he possesses the godly tool named Library of Heaven's Path, he might as well buy a blob of tofu and commit suicide on it. Remaining silent the entire way, they soon arrive at the entrance of the academy. Hongtian Pavilion. Seeing the two enormous words before him, Zhang Xuan nods his head. There are recollections of this tavern in the memories of his previous self. Hongtian Pavilion is the most luxurious tavern in Hongtian Academy. Every single meal here would blow a hole in one's wallet. Due to his meager pay, his previous self had never been here before. Initially, he thought that Shen Bairu would just bring him to some casual restaurant. He never thought that she would be so generous to bring him here. As expected of a renowned tavern, the furnishings inside are majestic. Numerous night illumination pearls of the size of a fist are embedded within the walls of the tavern, making it seem as though it is still daytime. They sit down at a table beside the windows. What would you like? Shen Bairu gazes at the young man before her. Anything. Zhang Xuan gestures. Since you're the one treating, I will eat anything that you order. Never been here before, he doesn't know what dishes are good here. Since someone else is paying, he couldn't be bothered to think about it. Seeing the expression of the young man, which seems resolute to take advantage of her wealth, Shen Bairu feels her rage welling up. However, as this isn't a good situation for her to flare up, she can only nod her head and casually order a few dishes. Zhang Laoshi, was the 0 in your teacher qualification examination intentional? After ordering, Shen Bairu stares at the young man before her fixedly. Intentional? Unsure of why the latter would ask such a question, Zhang Xuan pauses for a moment before replying, of course not. Back then, during the period of the teacher qualification examination, he had yet to transcend over, and his previous self didn't possess the Library of Heaven's Path either. Thus, it is impossible for the results to just be an act. Knowing that he would deny it, Shen Bairu laughs coldly in her mind. Denying it? See how I will expose your true colors. Since we're free now, I happen to have some questions that I have been unable to answer. Zhang Laoshi, would you mind helping me clarify my doubts? An idea flashes through Shen Bairu's mind and she asks. Go ahead. Since the other party is treating him to a meal, he should answer a question or two of hers in return. Alright, if one is unable to gather spirit energy in their meridians, while cultivating, Shen Bairu ponders for a moment before asking a question. You don't know this as well? Hearing that the question is even simpler than the ones from before, Zhang Xuan stares at the other party in bewilderment before casually explaining, I have 9 methods here that can solve the problem soon. He finishes his explanation. 9 methods. Hearing how the young man casually throws out 9 methods at her, Shen Bairu's face warps. Despite being knowledgeable, she is only aware of 3 methods. Yet, the other party is able to list out 9 in a single breath. Furthermore, there is a few in the mix that are completely foreign to her. She finds the entire situation inconceivable. That then, what if one is unable to guide the flow of spirit energy into the meridians after absorbing it into one's body? Forcefully suppressing her astonishment, she asks once more. That is simple too, I have 8 ways of resolving that. Zhang Xuan starts to explain. Firstly, Shen Bairu's slim body trembles. She had prepared herself mentally for this, but she still finds the situation insane. The methods he brought up are incredible. If these were to spread out, it would cause an uproar in the world of cultivation. Since you know so many methods, why weren't you able to list a single one of them out during the teacher qualification examination and instead scored a 0? Forcibly suppressing her shock, Shen Bairu asks. The two questions that she just raised were the exact same questions listed in the previous teacher qualification examination. Since he is aware of so many solutions, why couldn't he fill them in? Not to mention, to end up with a 0? Kung? Only now does Zhang Xuan comes to a realization. So these questions were from the teacher qualification examinations. As it is part of the memories of his previous self, although he found the questions familiar, he wasn't able to pinpoint exactly where he saw them. That just as he is stumped for an answer, the dishes that were ordered previously are placed on the table one after another. Let's eat first. Looking at the appearance of the dishes and taking in their fragrance, Zhang Xuan's appetite is whetted up. Cannot be bothered with these troublesome matters, he starts to dig in. Seeing how that fellow is more delighted to see those delicacies than her, Shen Bairu pouts. Countless people had invited her out for a meal, using all kinds of reasons and excuses just to stay with her a moment longer. Yet, this fellow is here just for the meal itself. Shang, don't be angry anymore. I have applied for the enlightenment trial, and the academy will bring Liu Yang over for inspection tomorrow. Zhang Xuan would definitely be severely punished. As for that lunatic, Elder Shang has already lent you his beloved pet. When you meet him tomorrow, you will surely be able to give him an unforgettable lesson, so you should be overjoyed instead. Let's go, I'll treat you to a grand meal, to make up for the sufferings you underwent today. After which, we will find a few girls and young master. Two young men are walking along the pavement of the academy. The one leading in front has a swollen and bruised face with clear panda eyes. It is apparent to see that he had fought with someone and got hit on the face. The one following behind him has his body bent forward and is assuming a subservient attitude. The one who is speaking at the moment is the latter. There is a giant lion strutting proudly behind the two of them. Emanating a ferocious aura, it induces great pressure and fear in one, before one could even approach it. They are Shang, who created trouble in the classroom earlier in the morning, only to be beaten up by Yao Han, and Cao Xiong, who is desperate to get Zhang Xuan into deep trouble. As for the line behind them, it is Elder Shang Chen's beloved pet, the Tier 6 savage beast. Sky-shattering lion. In this world, there are apothecary, blacksmith and many other occupations. Every single occupation is noble in its own right and well respected by the others. Of these occupations, Elder Shang Chen is a beast tamer. This occupation allows one to tame savage beasts and spirit beasts and control them, turning them into a part of one's fighting prowess. It is a formidable occupation that is noteworthy compared to the rest. This sky-shattering lion is a beast pet that Elder Shang Chen has trained. After being done in by the berserk Yao Han, he is aware that he is unable to match up to him in terms of strength. Thus, he approached his grandfather to borrow a beast pet for his usage. Hearing those fawning words, Shang nods his head, as he spits with an aggressive expression, that Yao Han must be taught a good lesson. Zhang Xuan as well. Of course. With this sky-shattering lion, what does Shang has to fear? Cao Xiong chuckles. A Tier 6 savage beast is equivalent to a Fighter 6 stand expert, perhaps even surpassing them slightly. Even if that berserk Butler Yao Han isn't weak, it won't be an easy feat for him to defeat the sky-shattering lion even in his top form, needless to say, in his current state. Earlier in the day, he was wrapped up like a mummy, not any better than Shang Shi's current situation. Sky-shattering lion is my grandfather's beast pet. You are also aware of its wild nature, which makes it as a difficult pet to tame. Grandfather may have handed him over to me, but it would only make a move when someone attacks me. Currently, I am still incapable of ordering it around." Looking at the ferocious and mighty sky-shattering line behind him, Shang feels a little helpless. Savage beasts may be strong, but they are very proud life forms. Unless one is stronger than them or has the occupation of a beast tamer, it is impossible to make them listen to one's orders willingly. That may not be necessarily so. If we entertain it with good alcohol and food, it might just listen to your commands. Cao Xiong smiles. Let's hope that it'll be like that. In the midst of their strolling and chattering, a massive tavern soon appears before them. "We're here." A magnificent signboard sits behind them as they walk into the tavern. Hongtian Pavilion. "Gongzi, you're here. Come on in." Gongzi gentleman, usually used to address four young males. Before the two men and one beast step into the tavern, a smiling middle-aged man welcomes them with a smile. "The manager of Hongtian Pavilion, Wu Chu. Give us a quiet location. Cao Xiong, Laoshi and I want to have a good drink together." Shang says. "Over here." Wu Chu quickly brings them to their seats. Shang Shai, every time I'm here, this Wu Chu would behave smugly and disregard my presence. This time, why does he? Cao Xiong couldn't resist asking. Hongtian Pavilion may just be a tavern, but the powers backing it is not one to scoff at. Otherwise, it is impossible for them to be operating their business in the compounds of Hongtian Academy at such a scale. In the past, when he was here to eat, Manager Wu would always disregard him. Yet, this time, his back is bent forward and her attitude is of utmost respect. The disparity in his attitudes makes him doubt if he is in reality. "You should have heard of that there was once an elder Hong Hao in the academy," Shang says. Cao Xiong nods his head. Hongtian Academy is founded by Hongtian. After his death, his descendants sustained his heritage. As a result, the elders who have the surname of Hong tend to be of more esteemed standing in the academy. He has heard of this elder Hong Hao previously. He is an extremely powerful individual, and has once vied for the principal seat. However, afterward, for some unknown reasons, he suddenly resigned from his position as an elder and there was no news on him anymore. After resigning as an elder, he started a tavern. He used to be best buddies with my grandfather, so Manager Wu would welcome me with respect whenever I'm here. Shang declares gleefully. So that's the reason. Cao Xiong nods his head. No wonder this Hongtian Pavilion managed to grow to such a scale. It was opened by the previous elder Hong Hao. To be received by the manager of such a huge tavern, it is definitely something glorious. Just as he is in the midst of enjoying service he has never experienced before, Cao Xiong suddenly freezes and his face gradually grows darker. What happened? Shang gazes at him in puzzlement. That should be Zhang Xuan, right? How could he possibly have the qualifications to be dining here? Cao Xiong points towards a table by the window. Zhang Xuan? Shang glances over as well. Upon seeing the young man, he catches sight of the figure seated together with him. His eyebrows shoot upwards and rage surges from within. Why is she together with that trash? I had extended my invitation to her multiple times, but she kept rejecting me. To think that she would be dining with someone else. Damn it. Damn it. As the grandson of an elder, a high-level teacher of the academy and the Fighter 5 Dan Dingli realm expert, he has invited Shen for a meal multiple times, but she never agreed. Initially, he thought that she would never eat together with anyone. Never would he imagine that she would be sitting together with the renowned trash of the academy. He almost faints from anger on the spot. Slamming his table, he stands up, prepared to rush over to question her. However, he suddenly recalls Shen temperament and immediately shrivels back to his seat. She holds intense loath to those who disturb her. If he were to rush over, to interrogate her like this, if she ends up getting provoked by his attitude, and rages out at him, there would be no hope for his courtship. Shang, don't be angry. I have an idea that would reveal the true colors of Zhang Xuan before Shen Laoshi. Furthermore, it can accentuate the majestic aura of Shang. Cao Xiong is a social expert, allowing him to see through the current situation in an instant. An idea flashed through his mind and he smiles, as he tries to coax Shang Bin into action. What idea? This Zhang Xuan is definitely here, to fawn on Shen Laoshi by treating her to a meal. However, as a low-level teacher, how much money could he possibly earn? We only have to interfere slightly, to make the final bill out of his reach, to shame him before her. Afterward, Shang would appear and rescue her from the awkward situation. Shen Laoshi's impression of Shang would definitely improve. Perhaps, the flower of love might even bloom as she runs into your embrace. Cao Xiong reveals his plan. Good, let's do it your way then. Shang Bin's eyes light up, as he nods his head in satisfaction. Not only is he able to cripple his opponent, he is also able to elevate his position in Shen Bairu's heart at the same time. This is truly a brilliant idea. Looks like this Cao Xiong isn't simply capable at teaching, he also has a way with dealing with humans. Looks like he should be properly groomed in the future. Zhang Xuan doesn't know of the scheme that is being plotted against him. Eating the delicacies on the table, he nods his head in commendation. The cooking techniques here may not be as refined as the ones on Earth, but this world is rich in spirit energy, not to mention that the ingredients used in the dishes are fresh and delicious, thus providing a wholly different enjoyable eating experience. Soon, most of the dishes on the table has been cleaned up, and a large portion of them was wiped clean by Zhang Xuan. Shen Bairu only nibbled on a small bit of them symbolically. Seeing how this fellow is only obsessed with eating, disregarding even her presence, Shen Bairu curls her lips in anger. Initially, she thought that he was feigning it to attract her attention. Only now does she realize that he had never thought of her as an important matter. Regardless of whether it is the genius teachers or star teachers of the academy, they would intentionally fawn on her and offer her favors. Yet, this fellow, the worst-ranking teacher of the entire academy, treats her as though she is nothing, making her grind her silver teeth in anger. If it wasn't for her etiquette, she would have already sent both of her legs flying towards his body. The more she thinks about it, the more furious she gets. She knows that if she were to see him continue eating, she would die of anger. She turns around and calls out to the waiter, "Bill." A total of 1280 gold coins. A waiter walks over. 1,280. Shen Bairu freezes in shock. Why is it so expensive? Even for a high-level teacher like her, she only earns 1,000 gold coin every month. Yet, to eat away a month of salary in a single meal? How could it be so expensive? She had calculated it properly while she was ordering the dishes, and the bill isn't supposed to even reach 100. How could it jump up to more than 1,000 in an instant? I'm sorry, but this bottle of wine here costs 1,200 gold coins by itself. The waiter explains. Previously, when the both of them were eating, a waiter came forth to ask if they wanted some wine. Shen Bairu thought that it would be fine to have some alcohol, so she nodded her head in agreement. How could she have possibly imagined that the wine would be that expensive? We were uninformed of the price of the wine you sent over. Shen Bairu's face looks extremely pale at this instant. No matter how foolish she could be, it is obvious that she had been had. If you are truly uninterested in it, you should have asked further about it beforehand. Since you didn't ask, we thought that you would be aware of its price, so we didn't say anything excessive. The waiter looks at her coldly. HMPH. Seeing the attitude of the waiter, Shen Bairu knows that there's no point in kicking up a fuss. Instead, it might be bad for her reputation if she were to kick up a fuss on this matter. Thus, she whips out her wallet and prepares to pay. Then, her face suddenly turns white and awkwardness exudes from her. I don't have sufficient money on me now. Why don't you keep it on my tab first? I will repay you after retrieving sufficient money. Today, she only intended to accomplish some reading at the compendium pavilion, so she didn't bring much money. After which, she met Zhang Xuan and consulted him on some matters. Due to the excessive shock then, she totally forgot about the matter, recalling it only at this moment. She only has around 100 gold coins on her, far from the required 1,000 plus. Treating someone to a meal yet not having sufficient money to foot the tab. She feels a fiery sting on her face, as she fervently wishes for a burrow to appear so that she could hide inside it. Don't order food that you can't afford. Since you've ordered it, pay up. Don't even dream about eating for free here. The waiter harangues. You. Shen Bairu's small face flushes in anger. What happened? At this moment, a stern voice sounds out. Shang Bin, accompanied by Cao Xiong and the sky-shattering lion, walks over proudly with wide strides. Dressed in white, his hands are behind him and his head is tilted high, his posture exuding an aura of superiority. In normal times, with his disposition and outer appearance, accompanied with the ferocious sky-shattering lion following behind him, he would have looked like an elegant and dashing gentleman. However, at this very moment, his face is swollen red and his eyes are bruised black. Looking from afar, he looks indescribably ridiculous. However, he seems oblivious to it and instead, struts about proudly. With a deep look in his eyes and a distanced aura, he walks forward and his eyes happen to chance upon Shen Bairu's body. Feigning shock, he says, Shen Laoshi, what a coincidence. You're here as well? He turns around to look at the waiter and asks, what happened here? It is unbecoming to be making a ruckus here. Ah, so it is Shang Shi. The waiter leaps in fear. He no longer puts on the pushy attitude from before and instead, reveals a careful demeanor as he explains, it's like this, they had eaten but they do not have the money to foot the bill. No money to foot the bill? Shang Bin shakes his head, as a disappointed expression appears on his face. He gazes at Zhang Xuan and says, Zhang Laoshi, it is not that I want to lecture you, but if you do not have the money, don't try to feign generosity and treat someone to a meal here. Look, you simply ended up embarrassing yourself. As the worst teacher in the academy, you might be used to it, but to bring shame to Shen Laoshi as well, don't you think you have gone a bit too far? Seeing the arrogant look on the face of the fellow before him, Zhang Xuan pauses for a moment, before turning around to look at Shen Bairu. Sigh, he seems to be talking about you. If you don't have sufficient money, don't feign generosity. Look, you simply ended up embarrassing yourself. You. Upon hearing Shang Bin's words, Shen Bairu was already infuriated. Yet, to hear Zhang Xuan repeating the same words again, she almost exploded from all of the accumulated fury. She lifts her head and glares at the gleeful Shang Bin, who is trying to put on an impressive image to win her favor. Luo, she grinds her jade teeth together and roars, Shang Bin, I dare you to say once more, who the one feigning generosity is?
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never say